Hey there, and welcome to another Change Catalyst conversation where we talk about anything and everything that has to do with building cohesive, vision-driven teams that make sustainable change happen, even when change seems impossible. I'm Casey Watts, Impact Coach and Consultant, and the host of this show. What I know from experience is that making change happen can be overwhelming if you don't have cohesive, vision-driven teams. No one has a collective understanding of why change should happen or what change to begin first. You notice false starts because a solid action plan hasn't been formed or crafted, or you're met with resistance because you don't know how to motivate such complex people. And that leads to schools remaining in a cycle of stagnancy, experiencing the same problems and ineffectively repeating the same initiatives or programs again and again. And that leads to low morale, burnout, high turnover, and who suffers most? It's our students. But there is a better, more effective way to bring about change in your school that does not deplete the energy of your people. You need a catalyst to help you get a solid start. My goal is to make cohesive, vision-driven school teams a possibility. I help school leaders zoom out to cast vision and then zoom back in to script the critical moves that help teams collectively go farther, faster, and better, even when change seems impossible. Here's what I want to know from you. What is the change that you know needs to happen in your school? What are you hesitant to get rolled out to teams? What exists only in your mind that you are absolutely certain would benefit your school, but you're just not sure how to get started? Right now, I want you to take a sticky note or put a note on your phone or maybe in the comments, make a note that says Change Catalyst. This is your reminder to email or message me about your future endeavors and your current reality, because I would love to encourage you as a change catalyst in your school. Okay, now that you are primed for thinking about cohesive, vision-driven teams that make change happen, let's jump into this week's Change Catalyst conversation. Well, hey everybody. Welcome to another Change Catalyst conversation. I'm so excited you're here. And I didn't get the timing quite right, so I'm eating a bagel with cream cheese, and I was like, oh, I've got plenty of time to eat the rest of this. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have a mouthful and talking with my mouth. Anyway.
It's fun.
It's all good. So tonight we are going to be talking about 5 mindsets of faux collaboration. And before we get started with this topic, I want to begin by introducing my guest, Alissa Crabtree. And we've been together in Change Catalyst conversations before, Alissa. Actually, we've had 2 Change Catalyst conversations in the past all about, guess what? Faux collaboration. So Alissa, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited you're here with me. Okay. And we have, if you hang in with us until the end of the show, we have some extremely exciting news. Like, I'm already grinning ear to ear. My face is hurting. I'm so excited about it. So hang in there with us because we want you to hear this great news. What I want you to do, Alissa, real quick, is introduce yourself to our audience and let us know who you are, where you are, what your role is, and what your aspirations are.
Yeah, my name is Alissa Crabtree. I am the founder of Crabtree Coaching Collaborative, where I have the absolute amazing privilege to work with instructional leaders across the state of Texas in strengthening their collaborative teams, strengthening Tier 1 instruction on their campus. And really, my mission is to one, streamline all of the things that are coming down onto campuses that are just unrealistic, and be able to truly focus on the main thing and what truly matters. And that is teacher success, student success, educator success.
Awesome. 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 Thank you for sharing that. And listen, guys, she's just given you an idea of how she can partner with you. So if you are in that boat and you're thinking, man, that sounds really relevant and familiar to me, reach out to Alissa, and all of her information will be in the show notes at the end of this show. So you can see the show notes on YouTube and or on Spotify. Okay, Alissa, I want to tell you a story. Are you good with that?
I love story time. Let's do it.
And you are going to, like, this is going to sound probably exactly like a story. You're going to think, wait a minute, is that my story? Like, is she living in my life? Okay. So last May, I was gearing up to work with this leadership team to craft a vision and do some strategic planning so they could lay the foundation for PLCs, because they wanted to begin working toward that in the year to come. One of the tasks that I had them complete before we met for our first time for work, our pre-work, if you will, was to send out a survey to the grade level teams to gauge like their current perceptions and their understanding or their beliefs about their own collaboration with their grade level teams. And so they did that. And then the grade level or the leadership team and I gathered around this oval table. I mean, it was a perfect picture of collaboration. We gathered around this oval table. We had our coffee in hand. We had copies of all of the surveys ready, and we had organized them by grade level teams. They were in these stacks. And when we reviewed the 7th grade math team surveys, the leadership team paused. Like, we read through all of them and they just paused. And then they started giving each other like these knowing glances and smirks. And I was like, okay, something is up here. Like, there's more to this story. So of course I said, okay, tell me about what these glances are about. And they said, well, when we look through these surveys, the team, the 7th grade team, ranked themselves at the highest level of collaboration. And here is their evidence. Their evidence was that they all got along, that they never complained or argued, and that they got things done quickly. That was their evidence. And so when I asked them to explain more about like why that was interesting to them, they said, you should see these grade level teams working together, or this 7th grade team working together, because there is one veteran teacher who shares everything that the team is going to do in the week to come. They all say, yes, sounds good. And then they leave. They might get some things checked off of their list, but then they all leave and go back to their classrooms. And you and I know that this is not collaboration.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if you have had similar experiences.
All the time. Mm-hmm. All the time. I've even been in that collaborative team as a member. And there is this misconception that if we get along really well, we are high functioning. And so I kind of want to take it to an analogy. So I, am wearing my faux items today. Like, I was like, oh my God, my faux fur jacket on, my faux necklace, my faux earrings. And I was like, it reminds me of my Aunt Bessie and Aunt Glenda. And, I can wear all my fake things and I feel real good in the moment. And it feels like, on the outside, it looks good. But the trouble is I'm always wanting more. Mm-hmm. Internally, I'm not satisfied. So I think of my Aunt Bessie and my Aunt Glenda that put on the faux and they're like, oh, I wish I had the real thing. Yeah. And so it's kind of like, even in those, we get along well, someone's just handing me the stuff and I'm taking it. There's no growth. There's no growth. And really you are left unsatisfied and in the end of it. Yeah, there's no fulfillment in that. Mm-mm. And without that fulfillment, we are not building capacity. Yeah.
And it leads to burnout and turnover.
And what happens when that teacher leaves? Because that teacher won't be there forever. We know that teams switch and she might retire or whatever the situation is. I always ask my instructional leaders, if you won the lottery tomorrow and you deuced out and we're like, I'm done, what are the people that you lead? What are they going to do? You want them to flourish and be able to have the real thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we're going to talk about that tonight. We're first going to talk about, like, what do we mean by faux collaboration? And we'll both just share a little bit about our thoughts on faux collaboration. And then we want to get into those 5 mindsets of the faux collaborator. Hey, my husband just passed by. So let me just close these blinds. So he's not in the live. But then we're going to talk about those 5 mindsets. And what's interesting is, you and I probably have been victim of these mindsets before. And I think sometimes it happens almost without us consciously thinking about it. So tonight, we want to bring that to your attention so that you're not falling inadvertently or even unknowingly into a faux collaboration mindset. So let's talk about that, our working definition of like faux collaboration. And we know faux means fake. Yeah. So we've got all the fake things on. It is just, we want it to be real, but it is just the facade of, the pearls. It's just the facade of true fur things. But we don't have that. Even around me, even surrounding me. I was thinking about this before we got started. I have plants all around me that are completely fake. But they give the facade of being real. So tell me a little bit about your thoughts around the term faux collaboration.
Oh my gosh, you just sparked an analogy. Well, kind of expanding on your analogy of the fake plants. Here's the deal. My fake, let me grab it. My fake succulent, let me tell you, it's easy to maintain. It's easy. I don't have to do anything. But my real plant, I do have to nurture it and care for it, but it's a lot prettier and it's gorgeous and I love it. It's more meaningful to me. And that is the kicker. And I think sometimes we fall into the faux because it's easier to access, it's easier to deal with. And in the world of education, where the job is just hard as it is, the path of least resistance is the most tempting one. However, as we mentioned before, it just is not, it's not the real deal, and it doesn't move us forward.
Yeah.
And we know that education, we need a revolution. Like, we need to revolutionize it right now. And if we just keep going for the easiest,
right,
we're going to keep spinning our wheels and it's actually going to get harder. But yeah, this is a lot easier to maintain.
It sure is.
But it's not healthy.
Michelle Rui is here tonight. Hey, Michelle. And she said, love that. Faux is easy to maintain. Real takes nurturing, and it absolutely does. And I think about, like, if I walk out, this says something about who I am. I literally have told my husband, like, what if we just did fake plants in the pots outside on the front porch? Would anybody really know that they're fake plants if they didn't come up and inspect them and touch them and everything? And he said, yes, they would know that those are fake plants, not only just by looking at it, but it doesn't give off life. And we know that real plants give off life. We need those in order to survive. And that kind of makes me think about how faux collaboration limits us. And you've spoken a little bit about this, because we can't move forward if we are remaining stagnant at just fake collaboration, the facade of collaboration. And if you're wondering, well, how do you know if it's fake collaboration? Listen to the mindsets that we get to in a little bit, and it will be very clear for you. But how else do you feel like faux collaboration limits either us as individuals, our teams, or our entire organization?
I do a lot with campuses on building collective efficacy. And we understand that the number one impact of student success is collective teacher efficacy, essentially the belief that everyone on the team can accomplish the goal. However, if we are in a state of faux collaboration, those individual components of building capacity and confidence in individual members is going to fall flat, which then impacts collective efficacy. And again, one thing that I do ask instructional leaders, particularly instructional coaches or team leads, I ask them, do you trust every single individual on your job to do the job right and to accomplish it? If you were to say, go ahead, make all my things for me and do it for me, and I'll still be the one behind it, like taking credit for it, do you trust them?
Yeah.
And I always get no. I have yet to receive a yes. And to me, that is problematic, but that is a symptom of faux collaboration. We have to lift the capacity of everyone. And that does take nurturing. It takes time. It is not easy. However, the benefits are life-giving.
Right. And once people have those mastery experiences of what true collaboration feels like, sounds like, looks like, and what it produces, there's truly no going back from that.
No.
The problem is that because we get stuck in faux collaboration, we get stuck in these mindsets, so many people, I'm gonna push the boundaries in saying that so many people will only ever experience faux collaboration because we don't. I would say that it's very rare that people actually have those around them that walk them through the modeling, the facilitating, the explicit teaching behind what does collaboration truly look like and sound like and feel like. So people just don't always get the chance to experience true collaboration. And if you don't ever get that chance, man, you just stay stagnant in faux collaboration and you're ready for retirement.
Though, I wonder if they don't realize they have lived true collaboration, because sometimes I think we separate it from our professional life and our personal life. But you know what? If I have true collaboration that is life-giving, synergetic, could be with your friends, with your partner, with your, I feel like the same components would apply, but sometimes we just compartmentalize so much and we don't realize that what's happening out here is also collaboration. But I take it back to you, myself, and two other women that we Marco Polo often, and we are, oh my gosh, what about this? How's this? And we're just friends. We're friends who get excited to talk to one another and problem solve. And that is what we also want to bring into the professional world.
Right. And we're building the capacity of the other person.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think too, like this reminds me of Liz Wiseman's work in the multiplier effect, because I would say that we each are multipliers for each other, So I feel more intelligent, more productive, and better in the work that I do. And even as a human being, when I get to collaborate with you guys, and we don't even have to be in the same room to collaborate with one another. We just do it virtually.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So I feel like it's time to dig into these mindsets. Okay. And as we're going through these mindsets, I would love, love, love if you are here live with us to pop in the comments either I know someone or I am. So I know someone or I am. Or you could even type the word both, meaning you know someone who's fallen victim to this mindset and you also have fallen victim to this mindset. And I will be the first to tell you that I have been victim to every single mindset that is here. So I'm guessing that, Alissa, this is true for you and
Absolutely.
everybody else who is listening. So let's get started. The first mindset of a faux collaborator is the mindset of control. And here's what someone with this mindset might think. And there are two different ways that we might think about that. Someone may either think, if I'm not with the team, nothing will get done. Or someone might say, if the leader isn't here, then we don't even have to meet. So there are two opposing sides to this. If I'm not with the team, nothing will get done. Mindset of control. If the leader isn't here, do we even have to meet? Okay, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I feel like the first one definitely creates the second one. So if you have a leader who is very much wanting to be in control, or possibly even just individual team members that are wanting to be in control, it perpetuates an idea that if they're not there, then we don't have to meet because we only meet because of them.
Mm-hmm.
What they do is either important or they just want to show like it creates an unhealthy culture. And one of the things that I have been working with school districts on is an adult learning series. And one of the things is releasing control. We have to do that, especially to grow the capacity of individuals around us. And, whenever we have the opportunity to release control and provide them the tools so that they can do it successfully, man, oftentimes you'll even see that they come up with something even greater, something even better. And it is a true influence to the organization that just makes it stronger, makes it thrive.
For sure. And I found myself the other day thinking, man, if I didn't show up to this meeting, would people know how to continue the work? And it was like a gut punch because I was thinking, ooh, I don't know if they would be able to continue the work, which only means that I have controlled the work and I've held on to this mindset. Like, if I don't do this, it won't get done.
Yeah.
Okay. Second mindset is, so the first mindset was the mindset of control. And I already see some people saying, yeah, I know some someones. I know several someones is what Michelle said. The second mindset that a faux collaborator falls into is the efficiency mindset, which efficiency is great.
Yes.
But here's the problem with that mindset when you're thinking about collaboration. This person will say, and remember, there are two types of people. So one person might say, I don't want to waste people's time, so I'm going to make this quick. Or on the flip side, it could be, this meeting is a waste of time. So I remember, type in the comments, either I know someone or I am, or you can put the word both. I want to tell you, it was a couple of years ago. We were it was during in-service at the school that I was working at, and an assistant principal was required to talk about some intervention program or some kind of initiative that was going on. He started the conversation with, I don't want to waste your time. We're going to go through this as quickly as possible. I know his mindset was, I don't want to waste people's time. But the problem is, you are setting up that initiative for complete failure. And you are setting up the ability for people to collaborate around this initiative for failure.
I also look at how it impacts the people in the audience emotionally. So I'm thinking of two different types of people, and you're dealing with adults. You have all different kinds of personalities. And I'm considering one type of person that if you were to say that, guess what? In my mind, you have planted the seed because you said waste of time.
Yes.
I would have never thought waste of time until you said it. And then that tends to fester.
Yep.
You're planting the mindset in them. The second person that I am thinking of is the more, this would be me. This would be my type of person that craves collaboration and I crave that, let's talk it out, let's go through it, it's going to be like, oh, you don't want to spend any time with me?
Yeah.
Like you are already telling me that it's a waste of your time to be with me.
Yeah.
Now, I also feel like this statement is well intended
Mhm.
because of the culture of education. We are inundated with so many things. However, you cannot assume that everyone sitting in your audience is of the same mindset as you in that moment.
Right.
And so you have to be careful with the words that you use.
Yeah. Yeah. And how you approach, even in your demeanor, how you approach any collaborative
Yeah.
time or any beginning stages of moving toward collaboration. Oh, I love it. I feel like I could talk way too much about
You
all of
too.
these. I'm trying to keep it brief and move on to the next one so we're not here for an hour. But here we've talked about mindset of control, the efficiency mindset. The third mindset of a faux collaborator is the mindset of avoidance. The mindset of avoidance. So here are two things, the two different perspectives behind this. One perspective is I don't want to ask the hard questions because it's uncomfortable. The flip side is I hope no one asks an uncomfortable question. I have been both. I'm guilty. Guilty as charged.
I mean, no one wants to be uncomfortable. We all hate conflict. I have yet to meet someone that's like, oh yeah, I want some conflict today. I mean, some are really good at dealing with it,
Yeah.
but that is also where growth happens.
Yeah.
So we cannot avoid it. And I think that is why I would say that your most agreeable teams oftentimes are the most dangerous
Yeah.
because they're not getting uncomfortable. And complacency is a very, very unhealthy place to be or a dangerous place to be.
Yep.
But with that comes creating a culture where we can get uncomfortable with one another. We
Right.
need to understand each other's values and strengths and weaknesses. And we need to talk about how it's okay to ask uncomfortable questions. This is a safe place.
Yep.
And get in the habit of
Mhm.
doing it. We
Yeah.
just got to get in the habit.
It's exactly what I was going to say is like, man, isn't it all about just those small habits? And we have to foster that in a group of people. Like someone has to recognize it, but then someone has to
Yes.
foster it and facilitate it. Yeah.
Look at Michelle's question, though. I love this. Why is conversation always looked at as conflict? And it should, you know what? That goes back to culture shift. It
Mhm.
should be addressed at the beginning when we're building teams, questioning conversations.
Yeah.
That does not mean conflict.
Yeah.
Great point, Michelle.
Very good point. It's very interesting to think about that too in the education system because, and I don't know who I've had this conversation with before, but we've talked about, especially now. I have worked mostly with primary and elementary teachers. They have a little bit of more of the perfectionist mindset, so they really want to get things right, do things well, do things by the book. And because of that, and also because teachers, I think, tend to be they're helpers. More of them are people pleasers. When you engage in productive conversation or even productive conflict, it becomes so uncomfortable to them because they're just not accustomed to it. And,
Mhm.
and to think, I think about this all the time, all the time. We when we become adults, I think people just assume, and this goes back to an assumption that we talked about several weeks ago or a couple of months ago, Alissa, in one of our Change Catalyst conversations that I will link in the show notes. We talked about this assumption that adults just naturally have the ability to collaborate. if you have been blessed to be in a school environment that has taught that over the course of your career, your educational career, fantastic. You probably do have those skills. A majority of us, and think about our classrooms today, there are more classrooms than not that don't regularly teach students the skills of collaboration. And we have gone, I grew up in East Texas, grew up in an environment where collaborative skills were not taught. I had to practice and learn those. It had to be modeled for me. So I think that's another point to make too.
Well, and just to expand on that, because I see we have Facebook user said that some people are not comfortable with stronger passion and emotions. And I think when we question anything, like question an idea, suggest something different, the automatic trigger there for a lot of people is to internalize it as personal, like a personal attack. And so you have emotions that come up, or if you question something and I don't agree with it, again, it should not be an attack on the person. But as adults, when we're dealing with egos and pride, a lot of people internalize it as it's just a trigger in us. And so it's kind of like, okay, team, we're going to sit here and we're about to question each other's work. So everyone take a deep breath and let's say out loud, this is not personal. This is not personal. I mean, it's kind of like you have to frame your mindset as a team and work as a team to foster that culture.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Okay. Let's talk. We've got two more mindsets. We're going to go through them pretty quickly, but so far, mindset of control, efficiency mindset, the mindset of avoidance, and then the fourth would be the task-oriented mindset. So these people might think, with this mindset, could think, the more we can get done, the more successful our team will be. Or the flip side could be, let's get started and check things off of our list. Like, let's get started and finish. And almost every one of these mindsets, I feel like, was present within that story that I talked about with the 7th grade team. But the more we can get done, the more successful our team will be. Why is that not true?
I take this back to what we had mentioned earlier about control. When we are just trying to get things done, we're not necessarily growing. We're just being efficient. And, oftentimes that means mistakes are made. Sometimes it means that we're siloed. We're not working on them together and determining growth factors. And it's just can be dangerous. Now, I understand there's a time and a place, but to live in this moment, like you gave the example earlier of the team that was very much, we get along and we get all the things done. Usually that's just one person driving that. And how are we growing the capacity if we always live in a task-oriented mindset?
Right. And those tasks can often be the wrong tasks. Like, yes, we're getting things checked off, but have we even spent time thinking about the impact of these tasks? And probably the answer would be no.
Yeah.
Okay. The last mindset is the socialite mindset. So these people generally say what we've been saying this whole time. Like, if our team gets along, then that's all that matters. Or our team gets along great. We don't ever argue. We don't ever fuss. So yes, we collaborate well. That is the mindset that they often take on. And I feel like we've talked a whole lot about that so far. But is there anything else you feel like we could add to that one, the socialite mindset?
I would just encourage that team to take inventory to see, are y'all questioning on a regular basis? Are you having the conversations that are making change and not just getting things done? So this team, I would just encourage to get a clear sense of reality of where they are and test their impactfulness.
Yeah. And I also think it goes back to that people not being comfortable, strong or passionate emotions.
Yeah.
Is there enough trust for people to be comfortable getting uncomfortable? Is there enough trust there for that? Okay. Love that we've talked about all of these mindsets. We're about to wrap up. And remember, I want you guys to stay with us because we've got some really exciting news. But let me recap the 5 mindsets. The mindset of control, the efficiency mindset, the mindset of avoidance, the task-oriented mindset, and then the socialite mindset. So those are the mindsets of a FAUX collaborator. And remember, any one of us could fall into these mindsets at any point. So you just want to be cognizant of it when you are visiting with teams. Take an inventory of those teams for yourself as you're observing, but also take inventory, like do a self-audit as you're working with teams. So let me ask you this. Alissa, how would you imagine shifting these mindsets so that we're able to effectively collaborate and become a cohesive team? Like, what would be one thing that you would say we could consider?
I would start by surveying your teammates. You have in an anonymous format, there needs to be a clear sense of reality when it comes to where is your team. And so generating questions that prompt thinking and rating. I wouldn't just say have yes or no. I would use like Jim Knight's scales of a Likert scale of on a scale of 1 to 7. How comfortable are you questioning within our collaborative team meetings? And review the results. Get a starting point to see where your team is.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, I could agree with that. I think that starting point is really important. And I want to add that it's okay to start right here, right now. You do not have to wait for a new week, a new year, or say, well, when this happens, then we'll visit how our team is collaborating and functioning together. Don't wait for that, because all that's happening is you're remaining in a stagnant cycle of FAUX collaboration, and your team is going nowhere fast. And because your team is going nowhere fast, your students are at the risk of going nowhere fast. And we just cannot allow for that to happen. Okay, I want you, if you're here tonight with us live, I would love for you to type in the comments what was most useful for you here today. And while you're typing the comments, what was most useful for you here today, I just want to pull down this new book that is on my shelf, okay? And this is, usually you see what is behind this book, but today I've put a new book there. I'm just going to show you guys what it says, okay? So it says, can you see that? It reads FAUX Collaboration. And then at the bottom of that, it has our names, Alissa Crabtree and Casey Watts. You know why I put this up there? Because we're doing what, Alissa? What are we doing?
We are writing the book that will transform and revolutionize collaborative teams.
Yes, girl. Yes. So I am like, guys, I can't even explain how excited I am about this book, because it is so much of what we've been talking about tonight, and so much more than that too. And I would like to, I'm going to actually dig into our materials that we have, and I want to read what we have so far as our blurb for this book, okay? And I'm going to put in the comments a link to this survey. So we want to hear kind of what your thoughts are on this book. And here is the synopsis real quick. Many collaborative teams disguise themselves with faux collaboration. With this book, you will uncover the invaluable potential of collaboration no matter what stage teams are in. As a collaborative team, you will unveil and implement authentic tools for habit that will guide teams to strengthen, listen to this, individual capacity. Haven't we talked about that tonight? Build momentum and cultivate collective confidence. We're not saying collective efficacy, but you better believe that's going to be part of the book. We are talking about collective confidence. So I'm going to post that in the comments. I'm going to add it to the show notes. Okay. So tell me, Alissa, how do you want to end our conversation tonight? I mean, besides like doing this with our faux.
With our faux. No, I just, those who are here, man, I just want you to, one, consider what areas or where are some spots on your campus or in your district, or maybe you're not in education, maybe you're in the corporate world. Where are some spots that you are noticing faux items? And then consider, how is it that we can transform them into the real deal? And that is through developing strong, healthy habits, laying out clear reality, open communication. And so I really hope that those are some things that you have been able to take away from this conversation. But also in our book, one of the things that we mentioned in the blurb is that we're going to provide you with the tools to be able to do that with your teams. And so we are extremely excited to offer that for you.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Well, I have had such a great time tonight. I'm putting this in the comments, and then I'm going to say it's time to jet on out of here. So, Alissa, thank you for joining me tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone who joined us. Absolutely.
Okay, guys, we'll see you next Sunday, actually. We're going to be talking about fix-up strategies for faux collaboration. Okay, so next time, see you later. I want to give a big thank you to you guys for tuning in, and I would love for you to do me 2 solid favors. Number 1, if you've enjoyed this or any other shows, please hit subscribe. I've got a lot of great guests and content coming up, and I don't want you to miss any of it. 2, if you know of someone who may be interested in building cohesive, vision-driven teams that collaborate well, share this show with them. And until next time, I want you to go off and have the great collaborative conversations that help you and the people you work with to completely unleash your impact. See you later.